So today I'm going to do a full walkthrough of the VAG VAS ODIS system. Before I get started, I'm just going to point out that if you're fortunate to own the actual genuine diagnostic tester, the display screen, then of course you'll know exactly what to do with this little 7-pin Fisher connector. That'll just plug straight in. However, if you're unlucky enough not to own a genuine VAG tester, or you've been provided it on a standard laptop, then Maverick Diagnostics can supply you a lovely little adapter that goes from this 7-pin to your standard USB. If you want to know more about that product, it's in the link in the description. So when connecting the diagnostic tool, just look out for the little red dot on the collar of the device, and that'll just simply line up with the red dot here on the diagnostic connector. Now going on to the diagnostic tablet, what you will need is you'll need access to the Erwin web portals. So for those particular portals, we've got one specifically for Volkswagen, one for Audi, one for Seat and Skoda, and the Seat also doubles up for the Cupra models as well. Volkswagen will do your Volkswagen car and light commercial vehicles. So you will need logins to the Erwin portals. Now you can use the same login and password for all four, although they are now independently operated and run, so you can decide to have separate individual logins and passwords for each one if that's what you decide. Okay, but it's really important you've got those four Erwin web portals on there, because before you can use the diagnostic software, you'll first need to purchase a subscription. So we're going to go ahead and do that now for the Skoda that we're working on here. So we simply go into the Erwin portal, we log in. Now on top tip here, nice, easy, simple way of buying that subscription. Just simply click on this little pop-out banner here on the left, go to payment, and that'll take you straight to the payment options screen. So literally within 2 or 3 clicks, you can get to your payment options screen, rather than scrolling through. What most people tend to do is go to the products and services, start scrolling and spending about 5 to 10 minutes actually finding the payment options. So 2 or 3 clicks of a button or a pen, and you're in your payment option. Now your payment options are split up into 2. One is for the technical documentation. So if you decide that you want all the technical information about the vehicle before you start to do diagnostics, then you can obtain that and access that without a connection to the vehicle. However, if you're already connected to a vehicle, you want to do a diagnostic session, all of that technical information is already built into diagnostics. So there's no need to purchase the separate subscription. You can just go straight ahead and buy the actual diagnostic subscription. So all we need to do is pick how long we want to pick the software subscription length for. So they range from an hour, a day, 7 days, 30 days, right up to 365 days. So for an hour, we're looking at €10.80, up to the full year there at 1,040. Now please bear in mind that this is for Skoda, all right, and the prices may slightly differ for the Volkswagen, Audi and the Seat and Cupra models, but they'll be there or thereabouts. But each particular subscription is brand specific. All right, so if this was a Volkswagen, we'd be going into the Volkswagen Erwin and we'd be buying a Volkswagen Erwin subscription. So we're going to pick an hour, because although an hour you think might not be long enough, actually once you start the diagnostic session, you can actually remain in that session then for that little bit longer should you need to, just to complete those tasks that you require, and you won't be charged for any additional time thereafter. So we just need to put a couple of bits of details in. So we need to put our org ID or our working context number in. Each independent workshop or dealer will have their own unique code, because you will have been validated through the VAG system, and then we simply then just add that to the shopping basket. We need to accept payment terms and conditions, and we need to input our credit card details. Before making your purchase, actually it's quite wise to see if you've actually got any subscriptions that have been purchased beforehand, because if you're not a regular user, you might have purchased some subscriptions and they still may be available to you. So if you want to know how to check that, simply go to the My Erwin and your purchase history, and that'll show you then your subscriptions that you've got left. If you've got any subscriptions, they will say not yet started, and you know that you've got subscriptions already there to use. Now it's worth noting at this point that you can have multiple subscriptions available for you to use, and they can be various subscriptions. What I mean by that is they could be a mixture of hours, days, weeks, or even months. So if you've bought a month subscription and it's still there yet to be used, you could have that here still saved. So if you know you've got a really busy month coming up that needs to be logged in on particular Skodas, then again you can just go and start your month's subscription from there. However, if it's just a one-off vehicle, you want to use one of your hours, you can select your hour. That's it for the Erwin web portal. What we now need to do now is we now actually physically need to start our diagnostic session. You can start your diagnostic session by clicking on the offboard diagnostic icon on the desktop, and this will take a few seconds to load and open. Okay, so once the software is physically opened, what it's wanting from us is for us to read these warnings and notes. It is worthwhile just taking a few seconds just to go through these, hazards are and what to look out for, more importantly as well how they're displayed on screen. So again, pay particular attention to the danger, the warning and the caution notes within the software, because these could be life-threatening, especially if you're working on a live vehicle. Scroll to the very bottom of the page. Once you've scrolled to the bottom of your warnings and your notes, you'll then be able to click the OK button. You can't do that unless you've actually physically scrolled through those notes. At least take your opportunity to at least read through them once. What we'll then do is it'll then connect to the vehicle. It'll pull the vehicle VIN number. We've got our battery voltage here. We've got our ignition key status here. And of course we've got our connection type. So this here is showing that we're connected on USB. If we was wireless, obviously we would have a slightly different symbol here. So what we're waiting for now is just for the vehicle VIN number to be populated. After the vehicle VIN number's been populated, we will then be prompted then to sign in and log in. At that point there, when we're signing in and logging in, what that'll do then is it'll verify that subscription that we've purchased earlier. If we've got a subscription available to use, then it'll use that subscription. If not, what you'll get is a little warning message on the screen telling you need to purchase a software subscription, and then you can go back to your Erwin site and purchase it from there. So I'm going to go ahead now and click the Start Diagnosis option. And as I say, we'll be prompted here now for our login details. Then there's a TOTP login, the two-factor authentication login, which will generate you a one-time passcode. Okay, for security purposes, obviously we've just blanked out our two-factor authentication TOTP code, but it's as simple as just generating the code from your TOTP app that's provided and then simply inputting that. The next stage is where we're at here now. So what we now need to do is we now need to select the brand of vehicle that we're working on. So it's really worth noting as well that although they're all the same codes, the only difference between them is the end letter that you see. So we've got the A, the C, the N, the S and the V. So the A obviously is Audi, then we've got C, which is Skoda, which is what we're on now. The N is for commercial vehicles, then we've got Seat, and then we've got V for Volkswagen. So just worth familiarising yourself with those end letters going forward if you're going to want to use this system and you're not using it every day, day in, day out. Might be worth just writing down on a little notepad somewhere or on a little sticky note what the A, the C, the N, the V and the S actually stand for, because otherwise it can be quite confusing because they don't necessarily start with the letter of the corresponding vehicle manufacturer. So just run through those again. So A, Audi, C is Skoda, N is for the Volkswagen commercial vehicles, then we've got S for Seat and V Volkswagen. So we're going to select the C, we're going to click OK. Now we've logged in, we can just recap. We've got our vehicle connection up here, we've got our ignition sensing, our USB, we've got our battery voltage. Now it's just asking me to double check that the vehicle details are correct. It is worth noting on some vehicles, some of these boxes will not be automatically populated. Some of the slightly older vehicles and some other brands will leave the selection to you, things such as engine code. On this particular vehicle, because it's a full electric vehicle, there's no engine code to select, but just be warned, sometimes there may be additional boxes. Dead easy. If that does appear, just simply click the little drop down arrow on the right hand side, select what it is. Once you've finished, then just click apply. Once you've applied it, then what it will do then is it'll start to do a full system scan, global scan. It'll identify the faults and then we'll see where we go from here. There are two ways of looking at the software as it's gathering its data. One is this control unit list, and this other one is the block diagram. It doesn't really matter which one you choose. Some prefer the block diagram so they can physically see the ECUs and which ECUs are on which network. Others prefer to look at the control unit list as it appears. So here it's just asking me to make some installation list selections. As you can see, if you're looking at the block diagram, you can see now as they start to populate, they now start to just come that little bit deeper in colour. So they go from a light grey into the dark black, and obviously the ones with faults or fault codes stored in the ECUs, they're starting to pop up now with the little red blocks. So they're going visually just nicer to look at in a block diagram rather than if I just go back to the control unit list. Same rule applies. You've got the light grey, you've got the dark, and then of course you've got the red there with faults. So now it knows those faults that we've got. What it'll do now is it'll work out now based on those faults, it'll work out a suggested test plan. Now, of course, we've got here at the top of the screen the time remaining. We selected our hour subscription. We've got 56 minutes. Again, kind of becomes a little bit irrelevant when we get in further on the diagnostic session, because the time actually will just stop when it gets to 0, but it doesn't mean that you have to stop working. You will only stop working when you actually physically come to end the session and we physically log out. At that point there, it will then, once you try to log back in again, it'll look for that remaining time. So don't worry about that too much. So you can see now what we've got on screen here. We've got now our test plans. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you, run through obviously the control units. So here's that control unit list. As I said before, you can look at it either in block diagram view or control unit list. One thing that is generally overlooked is the ability to perform what we do as a right click on this particular. So if this was a normal laptop, if you right click, so holding down your finger on the screen, that simulates that right click. That just then reveals what we can actually do physically within that specific ECU. So here we've got test instrument, we've got identify control unit, we've got read all event memories, we've got guided functions, control unit self-diagnosis and vehicle self-diagnosis. I wanted to go into the guided functions as an example. That would show me here a list of some guided functions that the physical software will allow me to do. So here I've got the reading of measuring values. I can actually replace the engine control module. So if this was a petrol vehicle in engine electronics, it would allow me to replace that engine ECU. We've got de-energize the high voltage system, really quite important on EV vehicle. Make sure you're EV qualified if you're going to start performing tasks such as this on the vehicle. I'm just going to cancel that for now, and I'm going to go quickly. So we have a couple of columns across the top. We've got the TPI column. This is the technical information side of things. In here, when you click the display the TPI, what you'll get generally is you'll get a list of all known issues and problems. They're technical product information bulletins. So anywhere where there are campaigns, anything to do with software updates, anything that's a known issue and a problem. So we can just click, as an example, if I click on the campaigns, click one at random here, by clicking that, it'll just tell you obviously what that update is. Going into that a little bit further and you'll get some context there, perhaps some technical background, some information, what to do and how to perform using that specific campaign and carry out. So really quite useful. This will also display you your wiring diagrams as well and your repair manuals, and that falls into this info category here on the right hand side. So at the moment we're just looking across this top menu, but on the right hand menu here under the info side will allow you then to get into your current flow diagrams as well as display obviously your build spec of your vehicle. So can be quite useful, the info. That's instead of buying your technical documentation subscription. Back into our diagnosis. So our test plan. So this is now a suggested guided diagnostics based on the faults that have been read from the vehicle, and all we need to do simply is select the one that we want to work with and literally then hit the perform test, and that'll take you through the guided diagnostics. I'm going to go special functions. So special functions, you can see in here we've got component protection for your distance regulation, really quite a common task if you're fitting the new ADAS or radar unit hidden behind the front grille or in the bumper area. If you've replaced that, then of course that will need fitting, but before you calibrate it you'll need to run the component protection. So again, quite useful, and that's found in the special functions menu. Scroll down, so we've got the immobilizer for adapting the keys. We've got our entertainment unit, the 5F unit, quite a few high voltage, with it being this EV. We've got our activate and deactivate transport mode. We've got our software version management. So our software version management is where we generally find things like software updates for our ECUs that are already fitted to the car. So where there's a software weakness, if there's a technical bulletin that tells you you need to be on a specific version of software and we've identified we're not quite on that version, we can come into software version management and we can perform that. With certain particular Volkswagen brands, they generally work on channel numbers. So it's really worthwhile getting to know, going into your control units, that's the address here on this left-hand side. So it's worthwhile just making a note of some of these addresses here. Performing software updates can generally be done by the address of the ECU. So make a note of the address, go into perform the update, and it'll ask you that one of the options will be to perform an update via an address of an ECU. Remember to input that, generally that 4 or 5 digit code, and then adopt it, and that'll go online and update that software. But again, err side of caution, don't just go out updating software willy-nilly. Check to see, first of all, to see if there's a technical bulletin or a TPI document that actually affects the particular issue and problem you've got on the car. We'd never go out and just advise you to update an ECU just for the sake of things. You might actually be getting yourself a bit deeper into trouble than actually fixing your issue and problem. So just a bit of caution on that. Back into special functions. So again, there are quite a few bits and pieces on here. We've got additional tests here for HV measurement. Now that requires, again, additional tooling and equipment. We've got those tooling and equipment part numbers in the right-hand side. So when it comes to electric vehicles, one of the most important things that people really want to know is how good is the electric vehicle hybrid battery, because this makes a huge impact on the resale value of the vehicle. So customers will often ask for a health report or a certificate just showing actually what the state of health or the state of charge is on the battery. So we're just going to do a quick run through now and show you how to produce that report. So we go into the hybrid battery management system, we go into the guided diagnostic function setting, and we're going to detect battery capacity status. We're going to run that test. We're going to follow the prompts. So again, make sure the ignition is switched on. So we make sure ignition's on. We hit the done and continue. Again, read the text. Do you want to determine the remaining energy? Yes, we do. We have 3 options here. One is a quick test, one is a status, and the third option here is to create that certificate. What I'm going to do at the moment, just for the purpose of the video, we're just going to run the quick test, just so you can see what that's going to go through and what that looks like. So again, here's our test requirements. So make sure there's no events stored in the memory. Again, make sure we've not got the high voltage battery physically plugged in and charging. Make sure we've got our 12-volt battery support unit, so it's fully maintained. And again, make sure as well that the temperature is not below 5 degrees centigrade. All right, so it tells me here the battery state is currently at 46.4%. Are we sure that we meet the test requirements? We do, and we're going to then continue. Hopefully, with it being a quick test, it shouldn't take too long to give us those results. So it wants us to input the vehicle registration number, enter the date of first registration. So that's saying now on the screen that our document has been created. Print the document, we go to system description, which is the button that's highlighted on the screen, and then press the complete and continue button to end. So let's click that description. Okay, here's what the printout would look like. So it's really quite difficult for you to see here on screen. I'm just going to save this as a PDF so we can open this up later at some point in time. I'm going to save it, which is quite useful. It gives you the ability to save it in various locations or wherever it is that you want. So I'm going to choose to save that on the desktop, and I'm going to call it battery report. That's saved. If I wanted to, I could also send that obviously to the printing and print. Now bear in mind that is the quick test. Let's have a look what the certificate gives you. So same thing, control units, we select our guided functions, we go into run, ignition on, and this time we'll select our create certificate. Option 3. Now unfortunately we can't run that certificate because it's asking us to set the maximum battery charge to 100% in the charging settings. So we need to actually perform, we need to get the vehicle on charge, we need to put some more voltage into the vehicle just so that it can give us that exact certificate. So at the moment unfortunately we can't run that, but at least we've got our performing actions that we now need to follow to make sure that we can actually get that report on the next attempt. So that's been a quick overview walkthrough of the VAG ODIS software on a Skoda Enyaq, a full electric vehicle. We've walked you through how to get the battery certificate and the quick test done. Hope you've enjoyed what you've seen. If you do, like and subscribe. If you want to know more about VAG, the hardware, the software, everything that you possibly could need to know, check out our buyer's guide. It's on screen now. Thanks for watching.